Well, folks, good to be with you. Hope you guys are having an awesome weekend. In today's episode of We're Actually Living in the Matrix, BLM was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. Think about this for a second. They're nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. I don't know if you saw what I saw. And again, I think we have to make very clear so we don't all get canceled that we are making a distinction between BLM, the self-proclaimed Marxist organization, and the notion of Black Lives Matter, which I believe everyone in America agrees with. Should be obvious, should go without saying, but because we do live in 2021 and cancel culture is run amok, I want to make sure we make that distinction. I think we can all agree Black Lives Matter. I think that goes without saying. I think it's insane that anyone could think otherwise, and I also think that anyone who disagrees with that statement is a piece of garbage. That said, I think we can agree that BLM, the Marxist organization, is not deserving of a Nobel Prize. A couple examples. The New York Post noted on June 8th, referencing a Justice Department memo saying that 700 law enforcement officers were injured on the job during some of the BLM-led nationwide protests. There was no outrage for those officers. There was no outrage like we see, and as a big proponent of law enforcement, there should be whenever someone or something happens to our great men and women in blue. But there was none of that. That was no problem. As many as 19 people were killed during these protests, including 77-year-old St. Louis Police Captain David Dorn. You've heard me speak about him before. He was an African-American man, a great man that served his community. Apparently his black life didn't matter to BLM because there was no talk about him during that. According to the ACLED, I guess this is an organization that looks at the statistics of this, 570 demonstrations, largely led by BLM or because of BLM, involved demonstrators, quote, engaging in violence. Now, I understand, again, we're living in the Matrix, but when insurance experts say that Minneapolis alone, let alone all of the rest of the protests in aggregate, Minneapolis alone, the damage there could eclipse what happened in 1992 in Los Angeles during the riots there. I don't know how you're even having this conversation. Again, we can have a conversation about Black Lives Matter being a worthy and noble cause, but if we're going to give a Nobel Prize to BLM, the Marxist organization that was involved in that much violence, again, we're living in bizarro world. I feel like it's opposite day, to go back to my elementary school days. So, guys, let's wake up. Although, I will say this. There's a part of me that hopes that they win. Not because they deserve it. Clearly, these were not good people doing good things. These were, anarchists, looters, rioters, arsonists. But if they win, it will be just another takedown of one of these nonsense, woke, elitist areas, organizations that have no understanding about reality, only care about perpetuating wokeism and their nonsense leftist causes and ideals. So I hope that they win, because it will give people like me material for years. It will give me so much material and content, it will actually be worth diminishing all of those who had actually won a Nobel Prize that deserved it over the last few decades. I hate to say it that way, sounds terrible, but it's true. It would absolutely be insane, and it would be cannon fodder for the likes of me and many of those like me who aren't afraid to speak up against the nonsense. Thank you guys, and hope you're having an awesome weekend.